Are you looking for the ultimate day adventure from Airlie Beach? Well, today you're in luck. In this video, I'm going to show you one of my favourites, visiting the stunning Whitehaven Beach, the swirling sands of Hill Inlet, and snorkelling in the inner Great Barrier Reef, all in a single day. Hi everyone, Chris here, and I'm here to show you around Australia's most stunning and gorgeous places, the Whitsundays. Hotel pickup was actually included in this tour today to Whitehaven Beach, but this would depend on who you actually book with. Sure, you could navigate the limited and only paid parking in the marina, but why not avoid the hassle? Relax and let someone else take care of the transportation logistics, while you focus on having fun in the sun. The hustle and bustle of the check-in at the office was a bit chaotic, to say the least. With so many people around, it was hard to tell who was going where and which boat and everything. From what I could gather, there was at least 4 other vessels heading out on the same time as ours, and this wasn't even a busy period. It got me thinking just how many visitors flock to this island paradise when things are in full swing. They did seem to have some good organisation though, and we were given these boarding passes for our boat name, and we just waited around for it to be called. But despite all the excitement, there wasn't much wait, and we were soon boarding the boat. There were a couple of safety briefings, first before we boarded the boat, and then another one on the boat, specifically about the proper usage of the life jackets. Despite the safety precautions, one thing was for sure: speed and efficiency were my top priorities, and this is one reason why I chose this particular boat over others. While I was excited to see all the sights in a shorter amount of time, I couldn't help but notice how crowded the boat was. In the end, it's about choosing the tour that suits you best and fits in with your situation. This comes down to price, time, convenience, or comfortability. As we made our way towards our first stop, the Inner Reef snorkelling site, the guides didn't waste any time in sharing their knowledge, telling us about the names of the islands and the beaches we spotted along the way, and giving a quick overview of the area we were just about to explore. As we pulled up to the site, excitement buzzed through the group, with everyone eager to jump in and see what the reef had in store. The gear was provided on the tour, which included a mask, fins and snorkel. But if you wanted a wetsuit, this was extra and needed to be purchased back at the office. These are mainly to retain heat. With the guides' enthusiasm, we were soon off on an underwater adventure that left us in awe of the beauty beneath the surface. Looking at the weather, it was a fantastic day, but it was coming into winter and the water temp was about 22 degrees Celsius. Still good enough for swimming, but lengthy times in the water will cool your body temp down pretty quick. This is why you needed a wetsuit. So what are you actually going to see underwater in the Great Barrier Reef? Sure, the outer reef might have bigger fish and sharks and more visibility, but there's something special about the unique underwater life you'll find in the inner reef. Imagine diving into a crystal clear ocean surrounded by vibrant coral reefs and schools of colourful fish. Smaller fish darting around coral formations, and you're lucky you might even spot a curious turtle gliding around. Keep your eyes peeled for clams too. They may not be as flashy as some of their larger neighbours, but they're just as fascinating to observe up close. If you're a beginner snorkeler, the inner reef is just a perfect spot for you, and the sheltered waters make it ideal for those just starting out. The fringing reef that surround the Whitsundays Islands take in the beauty to a whole new level. What does fringing mean? Well, this reef sits at the edge of the Great Barrier Reef and around the islands. When you're in the outer reef, there's nothing else around except for open water. The order in which you do things today will depend on the tides, mainly arriving at Hill Inlet around low tide to see the swirling sands. But the tides also control which snorkelling sites you can access too. What you're seeing here may not be the exact snorkelling site you're going to visit on your tour. Underwater life, visibility and depth might also change. On the other hand, this keeps the tour varied, and even if you do them months apart, it could be a very different experience. I remember visiting the area years ago and certainly wasn't the same as what I saw here today. I think we got about 45 minutes to 1 hour around this snorkelling area before being loaded back up on the boat and off on our next location. Probably enough time for us, especially in the cooler waters. If you need help booking a tour to Whitehaven Beach, then click the link in the description below to my blog. Next for us, it was the stunning and famous Whitehaven Beach. You actually dock up near the southern end and all the tour boats seem to go in the same area. Maybe there are national park or government rules surrounding this, but it did feel a little overcrowded when you had another 7 kilometres of beach that was empty. My tour a few years ago was probably better in this aspect, with a different area, and the only people around were on our boat. That or it's much more commercialised now. That being said, Whitehaven Beach was still just as beautiful as always. Have you ever wondered why Whitehaven Beach in Australia is so famous? Well, it's because of the white silica sand that is used to make it. Unlike regular sand, white silica sand doesn't retain heat, making it the perfect place to kick back and relax on a hot summer's day. But there's one thing you need to be careful of: the sand is so fine that it'll get everywhere. So if you plan on taking your camera equipment to this beautiful beach, be sure to protect it from the silica sand. Apart from that, Whitehaven is definitely worth a visit. Lunch wasn't exactly provided on the tour, but you could purchase a lunch pack for $20 beforehand, and they gave it to you before heading to the beach. This was a nice variety of food and well worth the convenience to purchase it. An alternative to that would be bringing your own, obviously, but a word of warning and watch out for the seagulls. They are very brazen when it comes to snatching anything when you're not looking. If you have enough time, there are a couple of walking tracks, along with a lookout point over Whitehaven Beach. We didn't have time for that on this list, but hopefully the next visit. The good thing is this section has an environmental toilet and helps service all the tourists that come here every day. I have heard that there's national park camping around here too, which is tents only, and you have to bring everything you need on the boat transfers. It would probably be a nice experience, one of these years, to stay around when no one else is here. After roughly 1.5 hours, it was time to board the boat again and visit our next destination, an only 10 to 15 minute boat ride. Hill Inlet is still around Whitehaven Beach, but on the northern end. Apart from the beach, this is a huge highlight for this lookout and where you'll see all the tourist photos around the world advertising the Whitsunday Islands. We stepped off the boat and walked across the low tide sands. If you're watching my last video on the scenic flight, then you might remember that being covered with water when I was on my flight. I'll link it in the description below if you want to check it out though. Anyway, on the ground you'll need to complete a small 10 to 20 minute trek uphill to the lookout points. Time will depend on your fitness, but the track is relatively formed and easy for most people, including kids. Just know that there's some stairs. Overall, I didn't think it was that much of a hard starter, but you can see enough from the video. There are 3 different lookout points and you're simply starstruck when reaching the first one. The views of the swirling sands are unbelievable and totally worth the cost of the entire tour. Your guide will tell you about the interesting facts about the area, what movies have been filmed here, and the underwater life you can see below. In fact, there was a reef shark so close to the shores as we disembarked the boat, but it swam away pretty quick. Apart from that, you're simply taking a bunch of different photos, walking 100 metres to the next lookout and repeating the process. Truthfully, I didn't see much of a difference between all 3 lookouts, and you could probably just see enough from one. I think they built them for the tourist numbers and help spacing everyone out. It's funny that my last visit here a few years ago, I only remember being 1 lookout, and you can certainly see how much the numbers have increased. Anyway, you'll have about 30 minutes to walk around and check out the other lookouts, and then make the 10-minute trek back down to the water and on the boat. On this occasion, the boat was waiting for us on the other side of the peninsula in Tongue Bay. After that, it was just another hour drive back to the marina. Overall, it's an exhausting tour, but this day trip from Airlie Beach only took about 6 to 7 hours in total. If you don't have enough time for this, then you could check out this video now on the scenic flight and see the area in 1 hour. Thanks a bunch for watching today's edition, guys, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye for now.